You raise money for Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America, and we are delivering our special guests. They are here to talk about the Rule 5 draft and more here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. Welcome into the CHGO White Sox podcast, coming to you live from Studio West of our West Loop offices here in Chicago. God, that does not roll off the tongue like Studio B. Welcome into CHGO. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. We are live here in the West Loop of Chicago on the CHGO White Sox podcast. We were live yesterday for the live watch-along of the draft lottery. The White Sox have the #1 overall pick, and today they made several picks in the Rule 5 draft. And since you, mainly Anthony K's brother Bobby, raised $120 for Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America, we are delivering a special guest, and this special guest has been very, very kind with his time. Gene Watson, the Director of Pro Personnel with the Chicago White Sox. Hello, Gene. Nice to see you again.
How's it going? You guys good?
Very good. And you know what? You're our favorite guest mainly because you're so prompt. No one's ever calling in between 3:55, and you were very prompt today. So we're
seriously,
very, very
Gene,
excited.
nobody. You're amazing.
Nobody. So your promptness shows why you're a pro. Very exciting day for the Sox. Very exciting winter meetings. Let's get into the Rule 5 draft real quick because I have some questions that really don't even rely to the players themselves. But is the Rule 5 draft under your purview as Director of Pro Personnel? Is this something that you take on and head?
What I would say is, we're all involved, from our sports science department to our R&D department to the pro scouting department. But we are really a systems thinking organization, and everybody is truly involved in the decisions we make. And so while you have your scouts in the field that are scouring and coming up with the names and filtering the names, once the names are filtered, everybody is a little bit involved. So it's not one singular department truly that's involved in the picks. There's a lot of input. I would tell you, we spend a lot of time on this, truly beginning right after the trade deadline. And it's a lot of conversations and digging into the makeup of the player, the medical of the player. What's the fit going to be in 2026? What's the ceiling going to be of the player in 2027? And so it's a tireless exercise. We were talking about it at 12:30 a.m. last night with the entire group, and really, going through each player that was a candidate. And so you then create your strategy to how you think it's going to be. If you're going to take one, if you're going to take two, who could be trading up to get in front of you? You're gathering that information, and then when the draft actually comes and you get the players you want, it's really an exciting time.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask about that. Shane Smith seemed like a clear #1 last year. I think his agent broke the news at like 10:30. He was the #1 pick in the Rule 5 draft. Was Pettit a clear #1, or was Paez, even if Pettit was picked or not, Paez was your guy?
And that's the other thing about the draft is beauty is in the eye of the beholder with these players. And so, some clubs have a completely different draft board than what we might have. And we had heard early on that he was going to be the #1 pick. And then you've got teams calling and hey, how are you guys going to select, yes or no? You've got teams trying to trade up. There's a lot of teams that will pick if the player's still there. I know one club inside of 10 today, their player was taken in front of them and they ended up not selecting. So you do get some information, but when you're picking as high as 2, and you're picking, there's not a lot of things that have to go on. But we had heard early on that Pettit was the guy.
Let's talk about the first pick, Jedixson Paez. He seems to have projectability, and that seemed to be the thing with Shane Smith was, right now in AA, he's throwing 94, but then here comes spring training, he's throwing 97, striking out Shohei Ohtani. It seems like there's a decent amount of projectability with Paez, even though, his role in the beginning might be a little bit smaller. How does the Rule 5 allow you to give this player a longer rope, like the constraints of having this player on the roster for the full season? Does that allow you to see a long-term project out like this more than, maybe a contender where if we're adding a guy to the 26-man, he needs to be able to come into the seventh inning and strike out, the side or whatever?
100%. And when you look at the two picks we took today, they are varying in the roles and how you kind of see them, in 26 and beyond. What I would say to you is, the Rule 5 draft, you hope, is a vehicle to acquire the highest level of talent that you possibly can. That's certainly how we have viewed it since I've gotten to Chicago. But you don't look at it and say, we're going to evaluate this to April 1. You're looking well down the road of, August 1st, September 1st, when Will's got to manage the innings and your bullpen is taxed and you don't really have optionable relievers. It takes a lot, but mainly you're looking at the vision of the player, not just for 26, but 27. And when you've got a ceiling like Jedixson Paez has, it's certainly worth the risk to take a shot and see where we can take him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it seems like a starter makeup, or at least maybe he has the ability to become a starter. How easy is it for a player like that to add weight? I know we heard the story of Miguel Vargas, adding 20 pounds this offseason. Paez, I think, is still in 21, so still growing into his body. How easy is it for him to bulk up during an offseason?
Jeff Head and his sports science group do a tremendous job of assessing the players, getting them to buy into the weight and strength training program. We have great dietitians within our organization that put them on a diet plan. And Jedixson, truly, when you look at it like this, he's 21 years old, going to be 22 soon. Which is essentially a college junior, and this type of talent in this vehicle of acquiring players would be somewhere in the top 3 rounds of a draft choice. And so that's really the way you look at it from a talent standpoint, as a top 3 round pick at 21 years old. But we certainly have the resources and the plans to bring him in and put him on a good trajectory of weight gain and weight loss, velocity training, all of those things to manage through the 2026 season, and then really get him going for the future of his career.
Alberto seems like he needs a little bit of weight as well. 6'8", 203. Seems like he could build out a little bit. But Getz talked about his cutter. It seems like a reliever role for Alberto. But talk to the cutter. I didn't hear Getz's specific quote, but what type of pitch is it? I saw that he can reach 100 with the four seam, but it seems people can really.
It is a unique pitch shape. It is a unique pitch shape, and so you go number 1 with Jedixson Paez, and you've got the high ceiling starter potential, and then you come on the backside of the second round, and you take Alberto, the power cutter, just a unique shape with high leverage from a 6'8" frame, up to 100 miles an hour with a plus slider, a little bit older, but probably also a guy that goes right into your bullpen and you massage, how he's used early on in the acquisition, and then let him kind of, grow into a certain role. But the arm is real, and it was funny when we selected him. Immediately we got text messages from the Rays and what a really good pick it was, what a great kid he was, great teammate, and so we're super excited about both players.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I'm excited to see the potential of both players, and I lost my train of thought where I was going to go with that. But yeah, no, very exciting there with Alberto. What I wanted to ask was, with Peyton Paulette, I think you guys entered the day with a 35-man roster. You obviously add 2 during the Rule 5 to your 40-man in Alberto and Paez. I think you guys were at 38 on November 6th when the deadline officially passed. What comes into a decision to leaving a former second-round pick unprotected like you guys did, and now picked up by rival Guardians?
Well, we certainly appreciate and value Peyton and what he did for us, and there's no guarantee that he won't be back. But it was just a decision when you're mapping out your offseason and the things you want to try to accomplish via in free agency or via trade, and certainly using the vehicle of the Rule 5 draft, you kind of start counting up, and when you feel like you might be able to acquire a greater level of ability and talent, and it's just something that they're not always easy decisions. They're very difficult decisions. And, I've been a part of, Rule Fives where the players we've gotten were very, very good, but we've also lost very good players. And so they're very difficult decisions, but it's one that we felt like, we had an opportunity to strike on this Rule 5.
Do you need to pick that up?
No, I'm good.
Okay, you're good. I know it's winter meetings. Anything could happen. All right, just to ask you about the lottery then, because I know that this was a situation that I felt like, they should win this, and it's really just up to fates whether they win it or not. You get the opportunity, maybe even less about the 1-1 pick, because although it might be a clear option, we're not sure how that player's college season may play out. How important is it to have the largest bonus pool? Like how much leverage and movability does this give you throughout the draft?
Well, it certainly it speaks to the depth of the draft. It's important because you look at a lot of teams that have been able to take that bonus pool and spread it out over 2, 3, 4 rounds and get impact and more volume. And so Mike Shirley and his group everybody's so super excited about having the first pick in the first round, and it is an excellent group of players, really in the top 10 next year. And so I know that they're going to tirelessly go to work to evaluate these players. I know it's easy to say you're 1-1 and this is the guy, but that's really not how you operate, because things can change so fast. You've got to truly do the work and do the due diligence on every potential pick in that slot. And I know Mike and his group are going to do that. But it really comes down to philosophy and strategy, and how do you want to take the pool and shoot for the one big player, the two big players, or spread it out a little bit. But it was so great to have Harold Baines in the room. A 1-1 selection. We had a dinner last night where Phil Nevin was there. He was a 1-1 player, and so to have those two guys together and us to be able to get the 1-1 pick, it was certainly so much excitement around the suite and the organization, and we're super excited for our fans and what this could mean for our organization.
Yeah, White Sox fans are buzzing. This has been a big moment. Some people are saying it was a bigger moment than a postseason win. I'll slow my roll on that. I'll still take the 2021 ALDS win over the Houston Astros, but definitely a very, very nice result. The one thing I wanted to ask you, with the winter meetings, we saw a rumor come out about Kyle Teel and the Red Sox having interest. I'm not going to talk to you about, trading Kyle Teel or anything about that, but how much of a victory is it for you guys to have a team maybe reacquire or just re-ask about a player that was just acquired? Like, you've been in baseball for a long time. Have you ever seen that, where a player was a part of a package and the team's like, we really regret breaking up with him. We'd like to get back together. Like, it must be a win to see Kyle Teel having interest from the team that traded him.
Well, he's such a special player, and that trade in of itself was a really special deal, and really an old school baseball trade. And I bring a lot of it to the fact that Craig Breslow, a tremendous general manager, an ex-major league player, Chris Getz, ex-major league player, both really competitive spirits coming together. They're both very competitive. Two of the better young GMs in the game of baseball, just coming together and understanding that most of the good trades in baseball are really good for both teams. And they both understood that, having been good players. And so for us to be able to maximize that deal, and we're certainly happy for Garrett and what he's been able to do in Boston. But it is kind of cool to know that you get a player in a trade, and that you read that there's interest in coming back. But we certainly believe and feel that Kyle is a big part of what we're going to do moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, after you see his 71 games or so, it's tough not to want to see 162 plus. Final two questions here. I know it was like a sort of underlying trade, but you guys deal some players to the Rays. You get back Everson Pereira and Tanner Murray. What you guys like about these two players specifically that makes them viable trade pieces? I saw Murray was former, I think, 2024 Defensive Player of the Year in the minor leagues, and then Pereira, a former top 100 prospect in his own right, hasn't seen it play out. But what do you guys see in those two players?
Well, with Murray, he certainly fits what we've tried to identify. I don't want to say White Sox kind of players, but we like guys that love to play the game of baseball, that are great teammates, that are versatile defensively, that come to play every day. When you look at Chase Mydroth and you look at Brooks Baldwin and you look at the type of players that we've got, the guys that just show up and play extremely hard. He certainly fits that bill. He's versatile defensively. We got a really good look at him over the summer from our pro scouting department. The R&D department did a tremendous job of identifying him, and so we certainly feel like he fits in to what we're doing. Everson Pereira, my gosh, I mean, the sky's the limit with his ceiling. He's just been really not very healthy, and so to be able to pick up a guy like this that still has a little bit of ceiling, to get him healthy, to get him on the field, to just maybe slow the development process down a little bit for him in a situation where he could have some opportunity. This is a guy that could potentially turn into a really nice player for us. And so we were certainly excited to acquire both of those guys.
And you don't have to get too specific on Pereira specifically, but when you see a player that, like you mentioned, you want to slow down the process for him, does that mean, we see that he does well against lefties, we'll have him be the platoon lefty outfielder, or does that mean, maybe more of a Michael A. Taylor role where we could put him in at any defensive position because he's a decent defender, and if we like the pitching matchup that day, we'll work him in there? Like, how do you slow down that development for a player like that?
Well, I think more than anything, when you look at, and I mean, it's hard playing in New York City, and the expectation that comes with playing for the New York Yankees in New York City, and you set at the top 100 tag, and that expectation that comes with that, and then you're traded, and as I've said with Miguel Vargas in the past, like, you go from a team like New York City and the New York Yankees, and what comes with that responsibility, it doesn't matter where you go, you're going to feel a little bit of, why didn't they want me? Why? And so trades are hard on the player because you're being sent away from an organization that originally signed or drafted you, and now you're going to a completely different environment where you know nobody. And so the health of him in New York, to go to Tampa and now be with us, when I say slow it down, it's like, let's make sure this guy know he has a home, and let's sell the vision of the player to the player and how we love him and appreciate his talents, and really come up with a plan that's going to help him reach his ceiling and blend into what we're trying to do and winning as many ball games as we can.
Yeah, it's great to see Chris Getz saying that other people, other clubs see it coming as well. Hopefully we see more and more from the Sox. We just need baseball to return. Gene, enjoy warm Houston. Have a good, happy holiday. We appreciate so much for your time, and don't miss any of the meetings that you still got left in the winter meetings. Appreciate it.
Happy holidays to you guys. Thanks for having me so much.
Thanks so much, Gene. That's Gene Watson, Director of Pro Personnel for the Chicago White Sox, and that is because of you guys, your donations, your $120 that we were able to raise for the brothers, big brothers and big sisters of America. We wanted to come through with you with a special guest, and honestly, there wasn't more of a special person we met in 2025. That was really fun to talk to Gene at the end of the season, and really fun to talk to him here, especially on this big of a day. I mean, no better person to provide White Sox Rule 5 draft insight than, maybe not the guy, he doesn't want to take too much credit, but a guy that's in the room, at least with those conversations. So absolutely fantastic stuff from Gene Watson. We have to take a break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. We will let you know about some of our great sponsors, and we will talk more about the Rule 5 draft next here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. We want to let you know about our friends over at Bet365. With Bet365's early payout offer, you're a winner if your team goes up 17 points with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selection marked as winners. That's for the NFL. I believe it's still going on with college football. You just need college football to return. We're still waiting for bowl season and college football playoffs. But there are NFL offers throughout the season. You got offers on Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday night. You can double your winnings on parlays with Bet365 100% parlay boost. So download the app and use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Breaking news. A yawn and a burp. Breaking news from 365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up using the code CHGO365. Deposit $10 and place a bet of $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus if you or someone has a gambling problem. Crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in-app only. We also want to let you know about our great friends over at Four Seasons. For all the right reasons, call 866-4SEASONS. Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric have been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Winter is here. If you've missed out on a furnace tune-up, you might want to get on it. Is your home's heating up for the challenge? Call our friends over at Four Seasons. If it's not, if you got a plumbing emergency, call Four Seasons. If you have an electrical emergency, call Four Seasons. If you need a new hot water tank installed today, call Four Seasons. Now is the time to schedule your Four Seasons furnace tune-up. At Four Seasons, they guarantee same-day installation for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, and generator needs with no extra charges for nights, weekends, or holidays. Your trusted local experts are Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. Back here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. Shout out to everyone hanging out with us. We got Sean Jankowski hanging out with us. We got our guy, Jim Cook, hanging out with us. He picked the ads 1-1. I wouldn't pick Jim 1-1. Maybe 1-3. Maybe not even 1-2. We might take a prep player over Jim. And great to see Gene from Goop, and Ryan also saying great to see Gene. Just truly cannot really put into words how thankful we are for Gene Watson. Not a lot of people in the first couple of years in the White Sox world were inviting us to events, and we got the chance to do that in late September. That was absolutely fantastic. And Gene was so warm. Brooks Boyer was warm. John Schriffen was warm as well. Gene was just very, very warm. And I think you saw it there. I mean, the fact that he showed up 6 minutes early to a podcast, I think shows his warmth and why he's been a professional for 30 years. So,
yeah, it's easy to see. It's easy to see why he's a baseball man, but more importantly, it's easy to see why he has such great relationships and he's in the position that he's in. I think because the person that he is, the communication factor, the baseball knowledge, and the White Sox, they got a good one.
Relationship guy.
They got a good one.
That's who that, he's a real good people person.
Oh, dude, he would have fit in perfectly with the Rochalong last night. You know what I mean?
Would have loved him on
he
the
would have fit right in.
Say Rochalong. Damn. But thank you to Gene. Appreciate it. We still need to name 50 random White Sox. If I run out of Jedixson Paez and Alberto or Alexander Alberto talk, I'll head over to naming 50 random White Sox. However, before we get into the Paez talk and before we get into the Alberto talk, hit that thumbs up button. Really do appreciate you. Alec as well saying, let's go, Sean. The last 24 hours have been sick being a White Sox fan. I hope so. The Rule 5 draft today did surprise me. I called it interesting on Twitter. I don't know if I'm excited. I trust Gene Watson, Chris Getz, Brian Bannister, because so far, I think they've taken the organization in a step further, right? This is a team that is actually using data. They have systems. Like, they're talking like a true baseball team. This is great and refreshing to hear. It does seem like a little bit of a gamble, though. Peyton Paulette, while he might not have wowed, while he might not have been a starter, and that's why you really drafted him in the second round, it did seem like he was a bit more advanced than the two arms that he took today. And Paulette, on the TJ Stuff Plus and the grades for his fastball and slider, they are above major league average. They're not wow pitches like it's seemingly Alberto has with this high release point in his cutter. So maybe it isn't a one-pitch star. I'm not even saying Alberto's that, but one pitch can really set a closer specifically apart. I mean, just think of Class A. I mean, that cutter turned into a monster for him. Maybe that could be Alberto's framework, right? A huge, massive cutter that could be a demonic pitch for him. Paulette doesn't have that. Paulette has a good fastball. He has a good slider, but maybe he's not a next level guy where Alberto could be a next level guy throwing 100 miles per hour. The Paez one is a huge gamble. Ryan says he's high on Paez and think long-term he'll be really good. I'm not against it. It's just there isn't a huge framework to fall on. At 17 in the Dominican Summer League, he threw 50 in a third innings. In 2022 in the Rookie Ball League, in I think the Florida CL, the FCL, 57 innings pitched. In Salem in A-Ball in 2023, he threw 84 in a third innings. And then in 2024, he threw 96 and two-thirds. So, like, a pretty decent buildup there. Last year, 19 and a third innings. He dealt with a calf injury, so it wasn't really an arm injury that set him back. I just didn't see him as that advanced. I liked a guy like Pete Hansen, who has thrown over 100 innings like 4 times. And while he might not have a dominant like velocity or mile per hour or dominant fastball, he does have like 5 pitches that he can control really well. Paez seems to be in that same ilk. He just doesn't really have like those 100-inning seasons like Pete Hansen does. Pete Hansen's also a lefty. Lefties are a little bit harder to find. Paez is a righty. he has added a ton of fastball velocity, which I think is the main thing about Paez and the projectability. Gene started talking about that there. That's the one thing that I liked with Shane Smith was the projectability, the ability for that guy to kind of grow into his body. You look at Shane Smith and he looks and walks and talks like a major leaguer. He's like 6'5" though. And he added muscle and started throwing 97. Paez is still, fairly young. He's only 6'1". I think weighs around 170. How much more can he truly add on to the 6'1" frame? It's not a small frame, but it's not like a 6'5" frame. The thing that sticks out, this is from SoxProspects.com. They grade the fastball or have the fastball at 89 to 92. It tops out at 94. The pitch shows sink. The velocity slightly ticked up in 2024, but not much. But when you look at what he has done, velocity increased in 2022 from 84 to 86 to the 89 to 91 range. So there was a spike from 2022. There was a spike from 2023. There was a spike in 2024. Maybe he reached his top around 94, but maybe he can hit 94 a little bit more consistently. He does have a cutter. He has a changeup, slider, and curveball. So it is 5 pitches. It's just more, can he be a major league pitcher? You're taking a guy that only touched high A. Can he go out there and take 2 more steps? Go to over A ball, go over triple A ball, and then stay in the major leagues. Get said they're going to ease him into roles, and maybe he's only, opening for an inning. And if he has a clean inning, it's like, all right, attaboy. But how much can we actually expect? Gene says this isn't an April 1st thing. This is a long-term project. It is a little bit of a gamble, though, because Paulette, at $800K or whatever the minimum salary is, could have provided you possibly 45 to 60 innings out of the pen. Can these guys combined give you more than 60 innings? You hope so, but there's a lot of development that needs to happen with both players. I'm excited that he's like, Jeff Head's going to get these guys to work. And we saw it with Vargas. We saw it with Shane Smith. I assume Vassell grew as well. But they're projects.
Well, side door number 2 is, can they take him and put him into their lab and into their system? And can you get a really good AA year out of him? And he's a 22-year-old pitcher with a really good year at AA on his resume. That's all of a sudden turns into the 3rd, 4th piece of a major trade. So it's all about trying to collect assets, whether they make it to the major league level or not. Can always be a bit of a dice roll. So they're kind of taking him based on traits, trying to put them into their system. And then again, he doesn't necessarily have to make the major league level to have an impact at the major league level if he can be a piece or an asset in a future trade.
I'm watching video of Alexander Alberto throw against the Winston-Salem Dash. Go check out at Future Sox.
Can you see him? He seems like a skinny man. Can you see him?
He's actually unmissable. If I had to
make 6'8",
if I had to make a comparison, he kind of looks like Victor Wembanyama on a mound. It's fairly absurd how big this man is, and it is a very easy stride down the mound. That's why I wonder if he could even start. They're not. They haven't brought up starting. I don't think that's a route for him. But I mean, if he throws 100, can he start and throw 97? If he's got a really good cutter. Could he just be a fastball cutter guy with a little bit of a slider mixed in? I'm interested. I just don't know if I'm excited. I'm a little bit nervous. At least now that the draft lottery's off, there's something to be less nervous about. So we replaced the draft lottery and winning no, there's no Roch. The Roch stakes. Replacing sweep with Roch. That's a bit of a stretch. The Roch stakes. We won the Roch stakes, but now they gave me something a little bit else to be nervous about. It is just the 26-man roster.
I got one for you. They won the Rochery.
Oh, the Rochery.
That's a stretch, but I tried.
They probably feel that, if all things go wrong, they could probably pick up a reliever on waivers and get by. But they like the projects. Let's see how they project. I'm a little nervous. I can't lie. Let us know what you think of their 2 picks. We'll get a little bit more into the picks. Also, they picked one in the minor league round as well. So we'll get to that after the break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. Here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. We want to let you know about our friends over at Ray CDJR. New vehicles are in store at Ray, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, and this is your chance to score a great deal at the Black Friday sales event. Headed to Ray CDJR on Route 12 to choose from their huge inventory of new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles. And right now, get 0% financing for 60 months on all new 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee L models, or up to $10,000 off MSRP. Plus, shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. With a friendly team of brand experts, the team at Race CDJR is here to help you during each step of your car shopping journey. And the best part is they have race price promise. The price you see is the price you get. So if you see a price online, if you see a price on the card, that's the price you pay. They keep it simple over at Ray. Don't miss out on the Black Friday sales event for our huge savings on new model. For more information, visit racecdjr.com or visit racecdjr today on Route 12 in Fox Lake or online at racecdjr.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Eye on the Ball. Dave and Chris are CHGO diehards, and we are very excited to support their company, Eye on the Ball. Athletes, here's a question. Are you serious about leveling up your game? Are you looking for a Jeff Head to help you add 20 pounds of muscle and become the next Alexander Alberto? Because the right coach can change everything, and now finding one is easy with Eye on the Ball. It doesn't matter if you're a kid just starting out or competing at the top level. You can sign up totally free at eyeontheball.net. Create your profile, search through your coaches in your sport, and connect directly with the one that's right from you. For soccer to swimming, baseball to basketball, you name it, the coaches are there. I guess you name it, the sport is there. The coaches are obviously there for whatever sport. What are you waiting for? Your future coach can be one click away. Jump on today at eyeontheball.net. That's eyeontheball.net. Find your coach and take your game to the next level. We are back here in the CHGO White Sox podcast. Hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We have Shy Sox Anthony saying Bannister has an idea and vision, a theory. What's a hypothesis is maybe next. At some point, we'll get to a conclusion. We'll probably be around June, but we'll see.
In between that is inkling. You have to have inkling.
I don't know if it's real. The scientific method, I don't think in true.
The inkling?
Is that what is a scientific method? I obviously don't know it because I'm a podcaster.
It's working through all the different variables to find the most well-rounded possible solution or answer to. I don't know. I'm making that up off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, I was about to say. You were just talking. It is ask a question. So I guess inkling. Do a background research. Construct a hypothesis. Test with an experiment. Did the procedure work? Yes. Analyze data and draw conclusions. So, I mean, I guess they analyzed the data from what they wanted in Shane Smith and Mike Vassell. I think really what it is just projects. You know, Mike Vassell's 6'5" and fairly big. Let's see what he can do. Shane Smith's 6'5" and fairly big. Let's see what they could do. Alexander Alberto's pretty damn big. Let's see what he could do. I mean, if you wanted RJ Pettit, Alexander Alberto's not a bad, second guess. He's not 300 pounds like Pettit is, but maybe soon he will be. And even with Paez, it is a project, but he does have a higher ceiling than Paulette. So I'm not upset with what happened. I'd be more upset losing Mason Adams. So, I really wasn't clamoring for them to keep Peyton Paulette. I'm not upset. All right, let's get into a little bit more about our guy Alexander Alberto. 172 and a third innings thrown since 2021. That's in the Dominican League. That's in the FCL twice. He also went to Perth for a little bit. Down under, mate. You got a Aussie accent, Joe.
Aussie accent?
Yeah, it's all right. I feel like I'm doing a little bit more British.
It gets Cockney and Australian. It depends on the words are. For me, it's like
Dingo ate my baby.
You can rope in some Rogers down the Django farm.
Kangaroo Jack.
Crikey.
I don't know. But he was down in Perth. Then in 2024, 33 and 2/3 innings pitched. I mean, last year, 48 and 2/3 innings pitched. Hasn't pitched above advanced A. He is now a 24-year-old. But the thing that sticks out is that he could strike out dudes. 11.8 K per nine, 3.9 walk per nine. This isn't unheard of. Like, the Sox have guys like this in their advanced A. The thing is that they're not 6'8". I think he could be a really difficult at-bat, and the one thing that helps him is that in the 172 and third innings pitched, Joey, do you want to guess how many home runs he's allowed?
How many innings pitched? I'm sorry?
172 and 1/3. 104 games.
Oh, no. This feels like a lot. I'm going to go high end, and I'm going to go stupid high end. I'm going to go 34.
34? 1.
Oh, wow.
1.
Okay.
1 homer. Not at a high level.
Who is that?
But 1 homer. Alberto.
No, I'm saying who hit the home run.
Oh, yeah.
Who got him?
It was
Who's
back
the culprit?
back in 2022 in the FCL. I don't know if we're gonna have really great game logs on who hit the homer, but maybe we do. But yeah, no, I think that seems like a pretty decent shot. Like I in a way like them better than Paulette, and that's what this was all about. All right, let's get into some more White Sox stuff. They did make one MILB Rule 5 pick, and it's a side armor from Texas. Fairly interesting player that they ended up picking up in the minor league section. They don't have it. Cool. I think it's Jedixson Paez. I don't know why I'm blanking on this. Sorry. Okay. Anyways, they picked him up, side armor. He was only an A ball or so he doesn't have the same constraints as a Rule 5 player. He doesn't have to be on the major league roster. The White Sox just kind of have this guy now. So don't worry about them, not having Jackson Kelly on the roster. He was a part of the AAA phase, and that means he's now in the White Sox minor league. But no, he's really a weird arm angle, and I'm interested to see how they do it. It's not like sidearm, but it's definitely low-ish. No, it's submarine. It's probably a -6 arm angle. Like it's not Tyler Rogers-ish, but it's like low 3/4. So fairly interesting pickup from Jackson Kelly. I don't know if, again, he'll ever see a White Sox uniform, but he will be, a part of the team rather than Alberto or Paez could be returned to his team. Jackson Kelly is now a Sox. But yeah, he's former out of Mercer last year in AA, 30 innings pitched, 240 ERA, 7.8 walk per nine, or 7.8 K per nine, 5.1 walk per nine. But he doesn't allow a ton of homers and power, so maybe that's what they are looking for. We got over 100 people in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. We appreciate you joining us, and we are so happy to have 37 likes already. Thank you to Gene Watson for joining the show. But they prioritize pitching. I think that makes the most sense. It's really tough to project pitchers or hitters like this. It's not the easiest thing to say, oh, Daniel Susac, he's a former first rounder that ended up getting picked by the Giants. Like, it's not very easy to say that this guy is going to pan out for the entire year. They tried it with Gage Workman last year. The Sox really weren't interested in a guy like Susac because they already have Teal, Caro, and Lee, so they didn't need a catcher. Outside of the catching position, I'm not really interested in seeing a Rule 5 position player like try to make it. They acquired Pereira, who seems a lot more interesting than any of the Rule 5 guys that they could have picked up. So I'm happy with them going away from getting a hitter. I thought that would have been a waste of a pick. Again, it's just interesting that they let Peyton Pollock go. But let's get into the 2025 offseason plan, because now we have two spots filled out. I don't think Jedixson will be a starter to begin with. I still think that there will be some starter on the roster to take up starts for them. So this is good for Jonathan Cannon. 2 spots just got taken up by pitchers. They're not really starters yet. So Jonathan Cannon, you might be able to be on the opening day roster, even though you weren't that good last year, because Drew Thorpe doesn't seem to be ready yet. Mason Adams doesn't be ready yet. So it does seem like Jonathan Cannon, hey, you might be the 5th starter. On the roster right now, you have Alberto, Paez, Vassell, Leisure, Taylor, and then the starters, Shane Smith, Martin, Burke, Kay. Unless they go out and sign a starter, I think it's Cannon. Getz said that they're likely not going to be in the trade market. So I really think that the Teal interest is just him like doing due diligence. Oh, hey, Breslow's calling me. I got to take this out of good faith. You don't want to just blow him off completely. Hey, what if he's like, Marcelo Mayer for Kyle Teal? I think about it. I don't know if I'd say yes, but I think about it. We already have Edgar Caro, Corey Lee. We don't have a Marcelo Mayer. So I'd be interested in that. But again, it's just mostly like due diligence, I think, what Chris Getz is specifically doing there in listening to the Kyle Teal rumors. But that is a roster payroll like under 60, because Alberto and Paez will make league minimum, and they're both around 800, so it's about 1.6 million added. They're at around 59.9 million with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more roster spots to fill, I think only 2 of them are free agents. At this point, like Josh Bell kind of seems like a long shot. Maybe they get Ryan O'Hearn because there seems to be like smoke and fire with the Ryan Fuller connection. But I think Kay and O'Hearn are going to be their big signings. And outside of that, we're going to see a decent amount of Everson Pereira. Honestly, after what Gene said, I'm just going to put him in on the roster. I think we have 7 spots only left to fill out. It seems like it's not going to be a big spending year, which shouldn't surprise anybody. But yeah, now with 6 roster spots left to fill, $61.12 million. It's not a lot of money, Jim. Jim, do you have any thoughts on the White Sox? You're really not on the White Sox show, even though you're really the only other White Sox fan. Adam Hogue doesn't talk to me about the White Sox anymore. So do you have any thoughts on the White Sox, Jim?
I got a lot of thoughts on the White Sox.
Great. Thank you. So about 6 roster spots. What?
I said, thanks a lot, Jim.
Yeah,
no, you wrote my voice.
Really throwing it out there. How's your Sean Burke Rookie of the Year ticket from 2025?
Didn't go well.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Busted.
Wild Juan saying Kyle Teal's leaps and bounds superior to Marcelo Meyer. I was mostly joking, but yeah, thank you. I don't know if he's leaps and bounds superior. Meyer plays a position that's not catcher. Seems like you're just moving from a place of strength. But again, I was mostly joking. Wild One throws in Miguel Vargas as first baseman. I have him as the third baseman because I don't think there's a clear third baseman right now. Maybe it is Tanner Murray. Gene said that they love ball players, so maybe Tanner Murray is that ball player that they're looking for to hold down third base. But I think if you're looking at this, maybe they sign a first baseman, maybe they sign another outfielder, but I don't think they're going to be players of massive consequence. I think it might be a placeholder until Braden's ready. I think it might be a placeholder until, kind of Lenyn Sosa figures out if he's a Major League Baseball player. I think that the $85 million projection for their payroll is definitely a little bit inflated. I don't know if they make it to 75, if I'm being honest, which should sour you a bit. It's like, what are you spending your money on? But I'll wait and see. Like, it doesn't seem like they're spending, Joey. I don't know about you.
It doesn't. Now, like, there's 2 things can be true, right? Like, the first one can be they can spend money. I just don't imagine those deals extending past 2 years. Right? Like, I think that there's an opportunity, and a lot of teams could take this, is if you kind of bide your time and you kind of wait, and the dust settles, holidays pass, mid-January comes around, there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to want to start asking themselves, what kind of deal do I want? Do I want a deal that probably has a decent AAV on a 1-year deal to remake my value? Do I take a 2-year deal to get some security, but it's a lower AAV? I think that's where the White Sox might be able to do their best work, is when you start offering people 1-year deals to come in and try and rehab whatever value that you want to have, and you get an opportunity for a lot of at-bats or a lot of innings on the mound to rebuild that value and that production, and that's where I think that White Sox can take advantage. I just don't see them, like, jump into the head of the line to go out there and target X, Y, and Z. The way that and really quick, just the reason why the K thing made sense was because he was coming back over. He was coming back over to the States.
Right. Well, and I think he wanted
and there's a market for that. You have to kind of maybe target that and get involved there more than you do waiting it out to see if you get your price.
He has a little bit more pressure, too, because he has the opportunity to return back to Japan. So I don't think he wants to string along Japan where they have to make their own plans. But yeah, I think
almost all those guys have pretty much been signed. All the American players that are now coming back over after spending some time have all pretty much signed, I feel like, except, I mean, maybe there's an exception I'm forgetting. And then obviously the Japanese player coming over for the first time, those guys haven't signed yet.
Yeah. Trey asking about Jake Myers and JJ Bleday. Myers, I don't know what we'd have to trade. Is like Davis Martin? Not really interested with that. I'd rather have the innings from Martin than the outfield innings from Myers, because it seems like Robert is staying for spring training. I mean, Getz said that he expects him to be in spring training. So I don't know about Myers. Like, I could see it working out, but I think that's if Robert's not on the team anymore. Ryan brings up trading Benny to the Astros for Christian Walker. Apparently the phones have been quiet in Houston, so I'm fine if they want to trade bad contract for bad contract, at least I don't hate Christian Walker.
I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. So
I do that in a heartbeat.
Because then he at least plays a position. Walker
plays a position, and he does give you some floor in terms of like that 25 plus home run power if he's on
maybe
the
even
field.
just 20.
Okay.
Just to be. Well, he hasn't been good.
The thing that just bums me, I don't want to get onto a Benintendi thing, but he's either like the guy that like shortens up his stroke and tries to hit for average, or he starts pulling the ball like crazy. And I just think like Christian Walker just has some more natural power, and that's what the White Sox
he's
think.
like
so that's why I'd be
7
more
inches taller.
Yeah, yes, and maybe by 40, 50 pounds.
And no, Myers still has 3 years of control with Houston, so I think something would have to be like a Davis Martin for Myers, which is possible, but I would rather have Myers. And then Trey also throws out O'Hearn or Fairbanks. With Paez and Alberto joining the ranks, they only have 3 relief spots left. And one of those could be like a Ben Peoples who wasn't drafted in the Rule 5. One of those could be the Duncan Davitt that was selected to the 40-man roster, right? So you got 2 possible maybes right there in AAA. If they got $20 million to spend, hell, give Pete Fairbanks $10 million. Like, I think if you're going to sign Pete Fairbanks, though, you have to make him, like, not even flinch. Like, oh, you're giving me $10 million? Sure. Like, it seems like Kyle Finnegan's able to sign. Seems like Drew Anderson's able to sign. Seems like Edwin Diaz has been able to sign. If you offer the right amount of money, I think you can get them to sign. I think that's what it is at the end of the day. If you're offering Pete Fairbanks $8 million, I think at some point, some team like the Yankees, Mets, Dodgers,
Cubs would give $8 million to in this town because they gave
$7 million to Mayton.
Yeah, they gave $9 million to Presley. I think with Fairbanks in the South Side, I think it'd have to be in like the 12 to 14 range.
Yeah. So
where he's like, I'm not turning down this money.
Right. I'm fine with Fairbanks, and maybe what I am saying with Fairbanks specifically is you might need to just completely like on the MLB the show when you're trying to get a free agent, just keep like hitting the D-pad to the right and just like, do you want to take $10 million? You want to take $11 million? How about $12 million? Just have him say no. I think the more that we just hear about interest from Pete Fairbanks, it's just interest, and they're not actually going to sign him. O'Hearn, I feel like they want to sign him. He just doesn't want to sign yet. I feel like they've probably made the right money offer to O'Hearn. It's more just he hasn't gotten, I think, the market that he wanted to so far. And now with Pete Alonso coming off the market, does that help the O'Hearn market kind of thaw and allow him to move somewhere? So
we're still in the afterglow of Woodrotch, as I like to call it, yesterday. I will say with the way the free agent you didn't like that one. I will say with the way that free agency works out, I will say that it is also nice that Sox fans can at least understand that you might not like what Chris Getz is saying right now in terms of maybe inactivity or we're going to continue to wait and continue to develop for one more season. That might bum you out. But you know what he's not doing? You just mentioned interest. He's not selling to the fan base what the Pirates are selling to their fan base of, well, we offered Kyle Schwarber 4 years for over $100 million. Like, okay, so what was it, $102 million? Was it an offer that Kyle Schwarber was never going to take? Was it an offer? I just think that there's a lot of lip service going on in certain franchises about like, we're trying. I promise you, we're trying. We come in 6th place, but we're trying. At the very least, Sox fans do not have to listen to that of like, if the Sox are tied to somebody, we all know what the constraints are and like what the structure of a deal would probably look like that makes sense for the White Sox right now. At least they're not going out there and being like, well, we tried to, no offense to Ryan in the chat, but no offense, we offered Pete Alonso 4 years, $89 million. Like get serious. Like, and I think that's more offensive to a fan base than I think what at least Chris Getz is trying to do right now.
And I think when you hear the White Sox are interested, I think that's less of the White Sox being like, hey, let's put ourselves out there so players think that we're like really serious. I think it's more the agent saying, oh, the White Sox are interested. Let's start getting serious offers in before, my client has to take maybe a less than ideal spot because the money's right. But no, I'd be pumped with Fairbanks. They want to sign O'Hearn. He's better than Benintendi. Like there isn't much I could scoff about with this current roster. That if they're spending money, just kind of as a White Sox fan, I got to bite my teeth and say, yep, O'Hearn's my new favorite player. It was different with Benintendi because it's the largest contract ever. That was a sore spot for a very long time is the corner outfielders. And then they just made it more of a sore spot where if you took that $75 million and gave it, someone a $35 million contract, someone a $20 million contract, someone a $20 million contract, right? Like, does that look a little prettier 4 years out? Anyways, that's going to do it for the CHGO White Sox podcast. Got a lot of content out.
Good show.
50 minutes today.
Good week.
Hour 20 yesterday. I think Monday we did about 45 minutes. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Ryan bringing up Pete Alonso, $10 and $25 gift card to Culver's. Do you know what Roch Chalowski thinks the most underrated fast food restaurant is?
Culver's?
Culver's. Oh, you saw my tweet.
Oh, no, I didn't. I was just leaning into it.
Culver's. So he's going to get a lot of Culver's, a lot of Chicagoland Culver's for Chalowski to enjoy. Also, he walks up to Feels So Good by Mace. I was very happy that it wasn't a country song.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll take it.
I'm not wagging a finger at it.
Mace is cool.
I'm still,
Not his buddy.
I think some
old
alternative
buddy.
rock wouldn't kill somebody every once in a while. But you know what? Okay, cool.
Yeah,
it's either hip hop or country. I get it. It's fine.
If a kid that his age is picking an alt rock song, it's probably like Creed out of the joke.
Geez. All right, that's a segment for another day.
Home now.
God
I'm
help.
6 feet from the edge and I'm figuring out.
No one liked them then.
Home
So why do we
now.
like them now?
Home
Who
now.
did this?
Goodbye.
Who did it?
Oh, wait. Before we say goodbye.
Oh.
Thank you to everyone for hanging out with us.
Oh.
Shy Sox, Anthony, Goop, Ryan, Trey, Gerald, etc. All of you guys hanging out with us. Appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up button. Make sure to subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel to be proper. Thank you to the director of pro personnel, Gene Watson, for everything that he talked about today. It was great to get insight into the White Sox Rule 5 day. Also getting insight to just the baseball world. I think the Angels were the team that he was talking about that passed. Interested to know that they had their guy. Their guy wasn't there, and they just moved on. Interested to know that maybe Pettit wasn't as clear cut of a number one as Shane Smith was, but they had some inkling that he might go to the Rockies. So interesting to see that how the cookie crumbles, how the butter's churned, how the sausage is made. Thank you to Joey Christopoulos also for his work. This show over the past year would not be what it is without him. He's been fantastic help. Contacting with Gene, absolutely. We are approaching a very, very sad 1-year anniversary. I don't know if I need to bring it up, but it's been a tough year, and Joey's made it a lot easier. So thank you to Joey for his help over the past year here at CHGO. Thank you so much for watching. Go White Sox. It's good to be a White Sox fan. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.